Welcome to Verbalpic Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. As you can see, we will have Arthur, the chief of the Shabazz tribe, Arthur Nasiir Abdul Muhammad, will be speaking on the book titled Duty with our esteemed panel, Roc Conscious and OG Alex. What's going on, y'all?
What's happening?
You got it. Y'all ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, we finna bring the brother on. We finna bring him on right now. And here we go. Brother says, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, God. How are you, brother?
I'm fine, sir. Fine. I'm pretty good, God. Enjoying the day. Look, this is our panel today. I got OG Alex with us.
How's it going?
It's all right, my brother. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yes,
and
sir.
We got our sister, Roc Conscious.
How you doing, Queen?
Hello. How are you?
I'm great.
Right.
I'm great.
And the reason being is, one, the title Duty, right?
Right.
The universe is still on your shoulders, right? Which
Right.
means there's a duty to fulfill when the universe is on your shoulders. And we want to get into why the universe is on our shoulders. And I know you could take us back 50,000 years ago and bring us forth into today's time on this very important topic and subject.
Yes, sir.
So before we go, can you read us chapter 1 of your book, and that way in the panel have any questions can question you on some of the topics, and then we'll go forth from there. Brother, is that fine?
Yes, sir. That's fine. Before I do that, I'm gonna, since you were talking about the cover, let me explain the cover a little bit. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Duty, as you can see, is very bold, and it's highlighted. It's in your face. It's to capture your attention. And really, this book was written for the brothers primarily, because it appears to me that word duty is not being taught anymore. Because it's something that we were born with. And duty simply means, in one word, responsibility. But the book goes into a whole lot more detail on what duty actually means. And so the subtitle, "The Universe is Still on Your Shoulders," that is a direct call out to the FOI, the brothers of the Nation of Islam, because that's where that comes from. Because when you look at the uniform that the FOI wears, on the shoulders, you see the flag. The flag is the universal flag of Islam. It contains the sun, the moon, and star, the universe. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad placed that flag on our shoulders because he said that is the responsibility of the black man, because we are the original man, and that responsibility is still on our shoulders. But because we haven't had that knowledge, and we haven't been taught that knowledge in so long, nobody, we don't seem to understand, who we are and the responsibility that comes with being who we are. And so that's why I put that there, because in actuality, this particular version of the book is the second version. The first version, I had a lot of the teachings in it, and when I read it, it didn't capture me. So this particular version, I wrote from the mindset of being in boot camp in the Marine Corps. So my attempt was to put something in literature that represents what we go through when you go through boot camp in the Marine Corps. And so that's what this book is for. It's about stimulating the growth of men who have never had a father around to teach them, young men who still don't have men around to teach them, and young boys who aspire to grow up to be, good, strong, and positive men. That's what this book is for.
Excellent, brother. Excellent. The book is on time.
I,
And
you
that's
know,
the book.
I agree, brother, and I didn't realize when I was doing it, but it actually is. And also, when you look at the cover, man, you see chaos. You see chaos, and this is where I played with a little imagery. Because, and I have to say, chat helped me with this one because it gave me two. When I put in the description of what I wanted, it gave me this particular image, and it gave me one of the brother facing us. And I looked at it and I said, no, I want the brother facing the chaos because that's what we need today. We need men who are willing to face what we're up against. And if you look at his posture, you can see that he has determined that he's going to deal with the chaos, that he's up against. And, you look at it and it looks like something going on in Gaza or Israel right now. But, so
Right.
yeah, so he's facing the chaos. He's facing the problems that we are up against. And this is the subtle suggestion that I wanted to leave with the brothers, man. You got to stand and face this. We can't run from this. We got problems that we got to deal with, and it's only for us to do it.
Yeah. Well, the responsibility fears some because when there's a call for action or to act, that means it's a commitment or some action needs to be taken in order to solve a problem. And that
Absolutely.
requires duty.
Yes, sir.
So we definitely we understand, and everybody's not gonna take on that responsibility. But once they have a thorough knowledge of what it's actually about, then by nature you'll want to get back in line and get back into the stride of things. Once you realize your role in this thing, that you are a part of creating the future.
Well, that's the
You know,
desire. That's the desire, brother, is that once men are made aware of what their duty and responsibility is, that they will accept it, and they will step up to the challenge and do what's necessary. But of course, we know is everybody's not going to because this work is not for everybody.
right.
Everybody just don't have the uh, the wherewithal. Everybody's just not prepared to accept the challenge.
Right. Well, let's get into the actual reading of the book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, as I said, I wrote this book with the Marine Corps boot camp in mind, right? So there's 13 chapters. The first chapter is called Awake because I wanted the first chapter to hit like you were laying in a bed in a deep sleep. Somebody came along and turned the bed over. I mean, just abruptly took you out of your deep sleep, you know, and you wake up and ask, man, what the hell's wrong with you? And the only reply is duty. you know, you got duty. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into this first chapter. Like I said, the first chapter is called Awake. It's called Wake Up, and it says, "Enough. You have slept long enough. Not physically, mentally. You walk, you talk, you breathe, but you're not fully awake. You are operating below capacity and calling it normal. Wake up." You feel irritation when you see a stronger version of yourself in another man. Wake up. You feel restless, but blame the world instead of your discipline. Wake up. You scroll, you consume, you argue, you comment, but you are not building. Wake up. You say you want change. You say you want respect. You say you want power, but you protect the habits that keep you average. Wake up. You are not as tired as you claim. You are comfortable. You are not blocked. You are distracted. You're not powerless. You are undirected. Wake up. Look at your posture. Look at your habits. Look at your mornings. Look at your standards. That uneasy feeling when you know you could be more. That's not guilt. That is awareness trying to break through sedation. Wake up. You were not born to drift. You were not built to spectate. You were not designed to negotiate with laziness. You were structured for pressure, but you keep choosing ease. Ease is not peace. Ease is erosion. Every day you protect comfort, your edge dulls. Every day you excuse delay, your standard lowers. Every day you rehearse distraction, your confidence weakens. Wake up. No one is coming to initiate you. Life already did. You have survived enough to know what pressure feels like. Now act like it forged you. You are not waiting for motivation. You're waiting for permission. Stop. You do not need permission to raise your standard. You need courage. Wake up. The boy in you enjoys entertainment. The man in you demands structure. The boy in you avoids. The man in you advances. Which one have you been feeling? Have you been feeding? Wake up. There is a version of you that is disciplined, sharp, steady. You have met him in moments, in brief flashes, when you committed fully, when you executed without hesitation, when you held yourself in a higher line. You remember. That version is not gone. He is buried under excuses. Dig him out. Wake up. Tomorrow morning will prove whether this is another intense moment or the day you stop sleeping through your own potential. Stand up. That's it.
All right, that excellent, bro. Okay, come
All
on.
right.
Excellent.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
now, this is what I took from it. Though. It seems like we're not, or you're not going back and finding out the reasons why duty is not being done. Seems like you start from today, right now, uh, that you have the capacity to get on your duty or accomplish your goals, if you would.
Yes, sir.
And
No, it's no reason to go back.
right,
Yeah, it's no reason to go back. Let's move forward. We already know, like it says, we all, sometimes have excuses. We all fall short and we know we've fallen short. No one has to tell us we're falling short. We know, and so we want to eliminate all these excuses, all these reasons why we can't. And so, yeah, no, it's no reason to go back. It's moving forward.
panel, any questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about as you were reading it to me, and I was listening, and I kind of piggyback on your question, Cole Black, like you said about going back, but I was more thinking about the actual age groups when they read the book. Is it targeted more toward? I know it's for all of us, but is it targeted more toward what age group are we targeting for this message to get home?
Young adults and up, teenagers. I think in the book I've got either 17 or 18 and up because,
Okay.
at the end of the book, there is a section where the person who owns the book will sign it, date it, and it has a date that you pass it forward. So this book is something that you give to a younger version of yourself, your child, or a young brother. When you believe he's ready, and so you pass it on.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was concerned about. Because I know, like, these young guys, a lot of young people, young adults are still trying to find themselves, and they find themselves in a situation where we're in a time where they're hit with so many forms of communication. And, sometimes it's not an excuse, but they're hard to sift through what they really need to focus on and pay attention to. So sometimes they have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So it's like, that's why I was kind of concerned about with the age group there, but you cleared it up for me though.
Right. No, you're right to be concerned, because it's really not for the children. This is for those who have the ability to carry weight. Children don't have that responsibility of carrying weight, but they're watching those in their household, those in their community who's supposed to be teaching them how to carry the weight.
That's so true.
Excellent. Sister Roc.
Come on, Queen.
From my perspective, it appears that this book will be a great gift
Yes.
for someone to pass along at any time.
Yes, ma'am. At any time, if you got, a younger brother, cousin, husband, I mean, not younger husband, but, if you have someone, a male figure that you believe needs to be stimulated because you see, dormant potential, or you see where they could be better, but they just, are not moving out on what you see. You don't have to sit there and try to convince them. Just give them the book, and hopefully the book will do it for them.
It's almost like it'll cause someone to self-examine.
That's the way I wrote it, because this definitely is a book that deals with self. Men becoming better versions of themselves. Yeah, the book. Yeah, the book. Hope, and then too. Once again, the book is not for everybody. So those who feel it will act on it. It's not for everybody, because this I would say this is a man's book. This is a book written by a man for men, right? And young boys that want to be men. So it's not for everybody, because so many don't want the responsibility.
Right, exactly. Now, this is my thoughts. We've made culture, or we made things cool that's on a lower frequency or a lower vibration, right? We got so confident in calling each other dogs, or what's up, my dog, or we got comfortable in taking that lower nature and making that cool and the end thing, right?
Right.
But when you give definitions in the book on how to or making going after your goals or accomplishing, and you make that a positive thing, right? It seems like, well, I would hope that the culture will say, hey, let's change the dynamics, and let's start using words that have a more stronger or powerful meaning that might also help boost the direction that we want to go into building something, not just for ourselves, but our family, our community, and then we move on forward from there. Because sometimes, as they say, words or spells or whatnot, some negative words can put you back to sleep.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I can see, that this is a need for this time that we in
Well,
right now. Everything is on time. Brother.
yeah, the book is broken up into 3 sections, right? Each section has a number of chapters in it. And the first section is called The Awakening. In The Awakening, there is, I think, 4 chapters? You got chapters 1 through 4. And the first one is what I just read, which is Wake Up. The second one is called Is Duty. It's explaining what duty is, and I'd like to read that too. And then the third chapter deals with what you just spoke of, fear and comfort. And then the fourth chapter deals with excuses.
Okay.
See,
Well,
fear,
let's
fear, huh?
yes or no, keep going.
Fear and comfort, fear and comfort are 2 things that keeps us from doing what we need to do. Not just men, but all of us, men and women. You know, we're afraid to move forward. And the comfort part, I understand, because, you know, people who have, you know, worked for 30, 40 years on a job to secure a home, secure, you know, the things that's necessary to secure a family, you know, make sure the children, you know, have what they need. They're off to college, they this, they that. Nobody wants to destroy that particular type of comfort, you know? So I understand that. But at the same time, when you look at it from a scriptural point of view, when God said to the children of Israel, leaves Egypt, they had to leave everything behind. They had to leave everything behind, no matter what they had to leave all that behind. And so, you know, too many of us are afraid to walk away from things, you know, too many walk away from stuff that you could always acquire again. And so because we're afraid to walk away from stuff, we have have absorbed the image of the golden calf, and we're worshiping the golden calf today, you know.
I agree.
Yeah, so, you know, that's one of the things that keeps us from moving forward. It's like, you know, when you see celebrities bowing down to these companies, you know, for the sake of the dollar, you know, selling their soul and doing all kinds of stuff for the sake of the dollar, you know, that's them worshiping the golden calf. You know, they rather have the money than to have the life that God has promised us.
True, but I was situated.
Oh, I was just saying, I have a question. Do you think, um, I like the title, and I like our approach to it. Do you think when we come out, when we have such a bold statement, do you think that makes people feel like more militant than strategic?
It could. I mean, it has that potential. But even if that's the case, you know, we got to say, so what?
Right.
You know, we got to say, so what? If we got a job to do, we got a job to do. Who cares how they perceive it? You know, being militant may not be our objective, you know, but, you know, white folks consider anything that we do positive that goes against their way of doing things militant.
Right.
You know,
That's a fact. But see, this is the thing, though, brother. This is the thing. Fear is a weapon that was used against us. Because think about it, when you say the tribe of Shabazz, right?
right?
Think about how powerful that tribe was. So
Absolutely.
he had to put fear in us as babies in order for him to do what he needs to do. So when you bring something that's counter to his blow, we countering what he's trying to do or have accomplished in some aspect. You have to understand that beating the fear is a must, but then you have to understand why he injected that fear in order as a science of control.
Oh,
So
of
we're
course.
trying to get off up under his control, but he's using fear as a weapon. So I can understand when you saying duty, and that's why you keep hearing me say the time. This will help remove some of the fear and also understand the weight of the responsibility that's on the individual that were once members of the tribe of Shabazz.
Well, this is true. I mean, we're all members. It's like in a nation. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that all of our people are members of the Nation of Islam. Some are registered and some aren't. And I say the same thing for the official tribe of Shabazz. There are those who recognize that they are members, and there are those that don't. But when you understand the history of the tribe of Shabazz as it was given to us, the name Shabazz is the name of the original God tribe when people became a tribe. And so we talking trillions of years, and from that point, people migrated all over the world. And along with the migration came changes, they took on their own names, they took on their own ways of doing things, their own dress codes or attire. A lot of things changes over that number of years, but we all know that there's got to be a beginning. There's got to be a source. There's got to be something that you can go back to, and the tribe of Shabazz is that source. Is that one tribe that we all spring from?
Yeah. Well, when I read Princess Ghostin L. Bay, who was the leader of the Washita tribe, when she wanted to get that land back in Louisiana, which President Bush did give it back to her, she put in there that the tribe of Shabazz is the oldest known tribe on the planet, right? Well,
Well,
when George
well,
Bush
what you
researched it, he
yeah.
agreed. That's how she was able to get that land back.
Well, what happened was, and I'm glad you brought that up, because when I was going through creating, reclaiming the tribe of Shabazz as an independent indigenous nation, I was wondering, if I was ever challenged, how or where I could connect the tribe of Shabazz to um, something that has already been recognized. And after reading Empress Verdiasi's book, The Return of the Ancient Ones, she mentioned the tribe of Shabazz as being part of her lineage. And I said, there it is. And not only that, it was the United Nations that stated that the Washita Dugdamanyu Moors, Muurs, were recorded as one of the oldest people on the planet. And I asked myself, well, how can that be? Because, we were taught that, you know, everything originated in Africa. Well, at that time, there was no Africa. We're going to go with Pangea right now, because before the separation, the continents were together, and it was known as Pangea. And so I forget how many millions of years ago the separation took place. But once that separation took place, you had people living on both parts of the land. And so as it begins to drift, the people that were on the land were drifting with it. So it is true, and it can be found to be true, that we have been here on the land since there was land, you know. So Black people are, in fact, the original inhabitants of North America, Central America, Canada. We are the original inhabitants of the land. And so, like I said, when that drift took place, there was people on different parts, you know? And so I personally believe when Mansa Musa came over here, he was coming over here looking for his brother who came before he did and just never returned.
Right. Yeah, right.
Because
Yeah, you're right. The
yeah,
natives was calling him Montezuma They were saying was Mansa Musa as far as the pronunciation was a little off.
Right, right. So yes, sir. But yeah, man, this book, I'm praying that it does what, I wrote it to do. And it's
It
basically,
will.
say it will.
It will.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen. I believe it will. Like I say, I don't expect it to hit everybody the way I would like it to hit, but it will hit. I pray that it hits enough of us to begin making the changes. And most of all, stimulate brothers to become unified, you know, because
Yeah.
that's the one thing we have not done. We have
Right,
not unified. And
right,
that's where our power is. It's in our
right.
unification.
Yeah. I now what I hope from the book is I hope that we can unify because it's time to and not wait for some cataclysmic event to take place to where we forced to.
Right.
Right. Well, you got to understand, this is what's going on with Trump. Trump is basically the pharaoh of ancient Egypt, and he and Netanyahu, they can't get out of this. They're locked in now. So whatever it is whatever it is that's gonna happen, it has to happen because Allah has already locked them in. And part of that is so that you and I can unite because He's gonna create circumstances and situations that's gonna force us to. You know,
Right,
some of us will lose our lives in this because there will be a degree of racial tension to the point that we will have to fight, and
right,
so right now we should be prepping, ourselves, our families, our communities. We should be prepping for what I believe is going to take place. It's just a matter of time. Our people need training, our children need training, and certain things that we should already have in our possession that we need to have. And so, yeah, I hope this will stimulate, like I said, the men to begin to do what's necessary.
but before we get out of here, right? Can you give us a uh, just a brief reading of the duty part?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do because it's one thing to say, hey, it's about the duty, talking to people who don't know what duty is. And
Right,
so, there's a chapter that describes what duty is. And so here it is. Before a man can accept his duty, he must understand it. Duty is not emotion. Duty is not inspiration. Duty is not something you feel called to when it's convenient. Duty is obligation created by capacity. Read that again. Obligation created by capacity. The moment you are capable of carrying weight, you become responsible for carrying it. That is law. A child is not responsible for supporting a household because it does not yet have the strength. A grown man does not get that exemption. The stronger you are, the more you owe. The sharper your mind, the more accountable you are. The more influence you possess, the more disciplined you must become. Capacity creates responsibility, and responsibility is not punishment, it is recognition. If life places pressure on you, it is because you are structured to withstand it. Weak frames are not given heavy loads. If weight keeps finding you, it is because you are built for it. Duty is the requirement to use your structure properly. When you can protect, you must protect. When you can correct, you must correct. When you can build, you must build. When you can endure, you must endure. You do not get to enjoy strength without caring what strength demands. A man who enjoys the benefits of this position but refuses the burden of his position is unstable. He wants status without sacrifice, power without pressure, influence without accountability. That is not manhood. That is appetite. Duty disciplines appetite. You say you want to be respected. Respect does not come from posture. Respect comes from reliability. And reliability is built through duty. A man who fulfills his duty becomes predictable, not boring, predictable. Predictable in standard, predictable in effort, predictable in principle. When you know your floor does not drop, they rise differently around you. Duty stabilizes environment. Without it, everything shifts. Look at any house, any organization, any community. When men step back from responsibility, instability increases, not because men are superior, but because structure requires anchors. If you are built to anchor and you drift instead, the room tilts. Duty is gravity. It keeps everything from floating into chaos. Now, understand this clearly. You are not assigned duty by applause. You are assigned duty by design. If you can see a problem clearly, you're obligated to address it. If you recognize weakness in yourself, you are obligated to correct it. Awareness increases responsibility. Ignorance may reduce accountability. Awareness removes excuses. And that is where most men begin to negotiate. They see what must be done. They feel what must be corrected. They know what discipline requires, but they stall, they delay, they rationalize because duty is uncomfortable. It requires something, and comfort whispers. You don't have to do that today, but here's the truth. Every time you delay your duty, you weaken your authority over yourself. Every time you avoid responsibility, you shrink slightly. It is subtle at first, but repetition builds identity. Men become smaller through postponement, not catastrophe. You do not wake up weak. You rehearse, you rehearse weakness through neglect. Duty prevents decay. Duty keeps your edges sharp. Duty forces you forward when your emotions would rather retreat. And here is what most men miss. Duty is not about ego. It is not about proving. It is not about dominance. It is not about image. Duty is about maintenance. Maintenance of your standard, maintenance of your household, maintenance of your body, maintenance of your discipline, maintenance of your word. Without duty, discipline is automatic. With duty, growth becomes possible. There is no neutral. You are neither maintaining structure or allowing erosion. You stop asking whether you feel ready. Stop asking whether it is fair. Stop asking whether someone else should step up first. If it is within your capacity, it is within your responsibility. That is the rule. And once you understand that rule, you stop negotiating with yourself. You carry because you can.
Mm, come
All
on.
right. Yeah.
Okay, now that was a good explanation and definition of duty.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Hannah, what y'all got?
I like it. I like it. I even like the part when you say when you were built for it. A lot of people don't know that they were built for this.
Exactly.
And it's like you get people and it's like, I remember growing up and you'll see someone and you say, well, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. They would tell you, they could see things within you. And,
Right.
as you're growing up as a young man, and then, you fall off on the wayside by getting caught up in, a lot of social issues or societies, whatever they have thing going on. But I do like the part about it when you said, you built for it. That kind of resonated with me before because we are built for this. It's when you don't know what you're supposed to do, it's easy to be led astray.
Well,
So,
well, that's what happened. Through the educational system, through the food, through the music, everything has been geared toward keeping us suppressed because
Yes,
these people know who we are. We did not know who we were. Now that that knowledge is coming to us, there's still, they're advancing a lot faster. All these different things to try to keep us down and try to keep us destroyed. But like it says in the lesson, the cream will always rise to the top. Is they can do what they want, and they have done what they want, and we still, when you compare apples to oranges, we're winning. We look at what we've accomplished, starting out, 100 yards behind.
Right.
Look at what we've accomplished as so-called slaves in America. We invented everything. These people have invented nothing. Nothing. They don't have an original thought. Everything that they've done, they've taken what was ours and added their little twist to it to make it theirs. But there's nothing they've done that we have not done.
Back. Let me ask you. Wait, sister, you got a question? I can't.
No. No, I'm documenting because an idea came up, something he said.
So the thing, just some advice. We seeking advice, brother. How can someone in a chaotic situation, and they're in the middle of it, what can they do to bring a quietness so that they can use their mind to project what they'd like to see in the future? Something like Tai Chi could work, or something like what could they do?
Well,
Quiet themselves.
As you was asking that question, the first thing came to mind is you got to learn how to breathe. You got to learn how to breathe. When you got chaos going on all around you, you don't want to react to the chaos. You want to poise yourself so that you can see it for what it is and then act accordingly. I can't give anybody specific instructions on what to do at a particular time when they're in a chaotic situation, because I'm not there. But what I can do is, like when I was trained in the arts, we go into competition. The teachers would always tell you, you got to be calm. You can't act emotional. You can't get in there and not think. You got to use your mind. You got to think. That would be, I guess, the more proper answer is you got to learn how to think. We got to learn how to think. I don't know if y'all familiar with this book, Outwitting the Devil, but in that book, the devil tells Napoleon Hill he hates men who think for themselves.
Right.
So that's the one thing we got to learn how to do. We got to think our way through this. It's not emotions. And then, with that being the case, when we think strategically, looking at what we're up against, we got to strategically do some things that we probably have never done before.
There you go. Right. Yeah, because if not, we will mentally recreate the same situation over and over again, generation to generation, until we break it.
Well, they tell you insanity is practicing the same thing, expecting a different result. So we got to come up with some different tactics in order to win this time.
Right. Right. See, when you that word to win this thing, a lot of people don't realize this is a race, and you do have obstacles or ops, or what they would call, to stop your rise, but for their benefit. But your rise is for your benefit. See,
Right.
they gain things from from our lack of knowledge, but we gain from a higher knowledge of self. So as we rise, they can't rise with us, but they can operate as on their level. They can win in the playing field, but they can't win in our playing field.
Well, look at it like this. They rise with us, but they only rise with us as parasites.
Hmm.
They attach themselves to us. So as we rise, they rise. They need us. We don't need them.
The wheat, the tariff, huh?
Well, yeah, but look at it from a parasitic point of view. Parasites need a host.
Right.
These people can't survive without us. We are the hosts.
So that means we look, Roc Conscious. We need a binding agent to get them up, to get flush them out of our system, like the other show we were talking on. We need some mental form of deworming, deparasiting, and not just duty could be one. You know,
Well, the truth, heat, working for our benefit. And to see, God has already made it clear. He said, separate yourself. He said, it's like all the churches, especially the black ones, if they're not teaching separation, then they're not in accord with God's will. They're not in accord with God's will for the children of Israel. God's agenda for the children of Israel was to separate themselves from the house of Egypt, or from Egypt. Well, when you put that into perspective, there is no people on the planet that fits that description other than the black man and woman in America. Because in Egypt, they don't have that in their history. There is no people that has ever been enslaved for a period of 400 years in Egypt, making stones from clay and straw. And the stones on those pyramids are made from marble. I think maybe even a hint of gold and some other stuff. There is no straw and there is no clay. Yeah, so we got to look at it from what it is. That was prophecy, and we are the fulfillment of that prophecy in a strange land that was not ours. Well, it is, but you got to understand it. But taken from our homeland, brought here, and the reason they had to go to Africa is because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that they could not enslave the Indians here. They couldn't do it. They couldn't enslave the Indians. And when I say Indians, the American Indians were the blacks, Indians, the indigenous, and the Native Americans. They couldn't enslave either one of them. So they had to go and get someone, you see, because we were indigenous to the land. How are you going to enslave people who know the land better than you do?
Right.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense.
It's just impossible. Know the land, know the terrain, know the herbs, know the animals, just know everything about the land that you don't know. You can't enslave those people. So you were constantly at war with them.
Right.
So they had to go and get some other people who were not native to this country and use them for labor.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You know how it says let my people go, where he
Yes,
was
sir.
using the my people.
Yes, sir.
Why won't they
Huh?
let us go? Why won't they let us go? What is the hold at this point when everything is done? What's the point of still holding on to us at this dispensation in time?
They still need
Excuse
us.
me, absolutely. You just said it. A parasite needs a host.
Right?
Yes, they still need us, brother.
And so that's the reason.
That's the reason. They still need us to survive, man. They can't survive without us. We are the flavor.
So we can't be like, and I'm just, you know how my mind works, wrong. We can't be similar to a running back where we trying to get in the end zone and we shaking him, he trying to get on us, but we came up with, we diving, we moving, we juking him, we coming up with this, we ahead of the game, and they can't tackle us, but they trying, we need to move a little faster, or like you said, we need to be in a quiet space so we can outthink him.
That's it. That's
You
it.
know,
Right there.
Mindset. That
We gotta
mindset. Totally
yes, sir.
different.
We gotta outthink him, and we have the capacity to do so because you gotta realize you're dealing with a 6,000-year-old boy. You
right,
know, according to our teachings, we've been here trillions of years. You know, we
right.
haven't tapped into our potential. We haven't, man, we haven't probably tapped into 5% of what we once were capable of doing.
What we using? What 7 1/8 of our brain?
I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
really say, but when you base it on, you know, that many years that we have been here,
right,
you and you know, at one point we did not have a verbal language,
right.
but we
Uh,
communicated.
Yes. It's like you see each
Come on.
other. I'm real big on that. I feel like you could that there had to be a time where you could because we do it now. We walk into a place and we could see each other, and it's like I can read your mind, you can read my mind. We think
Absolutely,
the same thing. So I do believe that exists. I really do.
Right.
absolutely. And back then it was at a heightened state. You
Yes.
know, we did it at will. Now we do it, you know, because you know it's something that it happens. Some of us have reached the point where they can do it at will, but the majority can't. You
But
know.
with a diet and you eating his food, he know what to do to block them signals.
Okay.
Put
See,
5G.
exactly. See what you said is what we're facing now, and that's why it's so difficult. You know, because you are what you eat, and biological and chemical warfare. You know,
Mm.
that's what we're dealing with when it comes to the food right now. They're using all kinds of chemicals and things that we can't see, we can't taste, and we can't smell. So we don't know that these things are taking place. And we're consuming all these foods because, you know, we trust that they're giving us the best quality, or we trust that when we eat it, that it's something good for us, when in fact, most of the time it's not.
Mm.
You know, we
Brother.
really don't know. Even if it says organic, you got to understand you're dealing with a liar. You're dealing with
Right.
a capitalist. You know,
Yeah.
he'll put organic on the same vegetables that's not organic and have you pay more money for it because he can. He knows that you don't have the ability to go and check it. You know, food check it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
once you do, you got him. But okay, so you got me. Now he'll start doing what he's supposed to do. But by
Right.
that time, man, he done made so much money off the lie.
Right. Yeah. Yes, indeed, brother.
It's like
Facts.
it's
Facts.
like the truth that is coming out now about COVID, you know, and then you got people like Bill Gates, who, because of his wealth, has been has been given authority to go into the laboratories and create meat for us to eat.
Right, man. That's crazy. I saw that.
Laboratory meat. Laboratory meat. It's already on the market.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
You
thing
know,
is we now our parents can tell the difference, but the new generation can't tell the difference between the lab and the real thing.
well, believe it or not, the animals are the best ones to tell you. Because animals, I saw a video of them trying to feed some of this. Matter of fact, it was a McDonald's burger to a bear. That bear turned that stuff down so quick because it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Right. He
You know,
knew. Right. Uh,
yeah.
wow.
And then if you got fruit that insects won't go near, then that means that it's not real fruit.
Right.
Right.
We don't
Oh,
know what we're getting unless we grow it ourselves.
There we go.
fact. Um, and that's why the universe is still on our shoulders
That's
because we were given instructions for this planet that
yes,
it's our duty to carry out.
yes, sir. It's our planet.
It's our
And
planet.
And going back to Public Enemy, the fear of a black planet, that's real. That's
Right.
real in the subconscious or the conscious mind of white people.
So,
The fear
facts.
of a black, the fear of a black planet.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You
As
know,
I was,
we're not built like them. We're not made like them. If we were, we would have killed them off already.
right. Right.
Right.
Yeah,
It's not in our spirit.
it's
It's
not our
not.
nature. It's not our nature.
Well,
You know.
and plus, see, we still under the time or order of Yakub and his
Oh,
creation in the 6,000 years. We waking up to realize that 6,000 years is up.
oh
But
yeah,
what do
it's
we
up,
do now?
brother. It's up.
What do
That
we do
time is up.
now?
Well, that's all the problems that we see going on around the world. It's like Jesus in the scripture gave us an image of what we should look for to know that the end is near. And everything he mentioned, we're looking at
Uh,
Right.
wars, rumors of wars, you know, children going against their parents. And I forget
Mm.
how it's worded exactly, but he
right,
gave us the picture of what we should look for. And this picture clear. I mean, this picture perfect for me. This is it.
right, right. We in it. Right,
We in it. We in it now. And I think
Yeah,
part
we're
of the
in it
problem,
for our, so to speak, for our generation.
yes.
And from my perspective, I think every generation that has occurred has had some type of event or some type of signal indication to let them know that
We're getting
the
close.
end of time was for them. So this is it for us, our time.
Oh yeah,
right,
well, this
So to
is it
speak.
for all. Yeah, this is it, not just for us. This is it because what we see going on in the Middle East, that's the war of Armageddon taking place, and it's gonna grow.
but
But
yeah,
that, yeah,
it's affecting the Philippines and India. See, our
well,
gas prices only went up 40 cents or so, right? Man, it's shutting those people down.
man,
They can't
our
even.
gas has gone up $1, bro. But you gotta understand the war of the Armageddon. That word means armies gathered together for the doom or for the destruction. The
Mm.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, all these countries would come together in one place in the Middle East, and they would do battle. And this is what we're seeing. He said that all of these countries would turn their backs on America. This is what we're seeing, you
Mhm.
know. But one thing he said that, you know, I am glad that he said it. He said that Allah preserved America for himself. He said that Allah would not let any foreign entity take down America. He said he's going to do that himself for their mistreatment of us.
And
Right.
Texas is not part of America.
Well, well,
On
yeah.
paper. On
Well,
paper.
okay, okay. Since you bring that up, I mean, when you look at it commercially, yeah, it is because it's one of the corporations that agreed to fall up under the United States Corporation. And here's the thing: I still haven't found anyone to explain to me why, but I believe y'all would say it's obviously important. So here it is: you got a man, Master Farad Muhammad, the teacher of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who we say was God in person. Upon his departure, he leaves to his messenger, his servant, gifts. The first gift is an obvious gift. He left them a Holy Quran Sharif. Now, that particular Quran was in Arabic. And so he went and got him one that was both Arabic and English that he could read. Now, the second gift blows my mind. The second gift that he gave or left the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a map of Texas. Now, now,
Because
now,
everybody at this time, why is everybody moving to Texas at this
well,
particular?
I mean, but I want you to think about what I said. You got the divine supreme being leaving his disciple, leaving his servant a map of Texas as the second gift.
Mm.
I mean, out of all the things in the world that
And
he
again,
could have given him, he could have given
right.
him jewels. He could have given him another book. He could have given him,
Well,
just anything. A
right.
map of Texas. That blows my mind.
Yeah, me too, brother. A map of Texas.
A map
I'm
of Texas.
yeah, yeah.
And since I heard him say that, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that, I've been locked in. I say, well, shit, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not leaving Texas. Because obviously it's important. It was important to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to have a map of Texas, that it was his second gift. I
Right,
don't know. And I believe he did receive some other things, but he
right,
mentioned those two.
right.
So those two are of ultimate importance to us. And I
Mm.
haven't heard anybody teach on the second one. Why a map of Texas? I haven't heard anybody teach on it. But I've been
Yeah, that,
asking God for the answer.
right. I'm sitting back
From a
watching,
spiritual aspect, what is the significance?
Exactly.
and
Mm.
So that's what that
Texas.
is. It's
It means friendly. Tejas, Texas. So,
Yeah, but this is deeper than what it means, brother.
right.
You know,
Yes, sir.
this is deeper than that. This
Home of the chosen ones. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, it
yeah.
could. Or Texas could. You know what I think, and I might be wrong, but I think that Texas was the Egypt of the Middle East, and Texas is that in the Americas. Is
Well,
this focal?
they say Utah
Yeah,
was they say Utah because when you look at some of the names you find in Utah, you find them in the scripture.
right.
You
They
know,
do. They do
yeah,
have a
and
lot of
there's
similarities. A lot.
yeah, and so some guy did an actual measurement of uh, of one of the mountains that's mentioned, and he said over in Egypt or in the area where it's supposed to be according to the Bible, it doesn't exist, but it does exist in Utah.
Okay, okay,
I think I
okay.
saw something about that, about a mountain. I do remember. It starts with an A or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. If I'm not mistaken, but I did come across something that was saying that mountain only exists in Utah.
Right, right. And so the Grand Canyon now they've also said is the original Egypt
Yeah.
because
I got a
of
lot of
the
right.
artifacts that they found there, and then of course some of the structures. A couple of them look like the Sphinx in Egypt, but not as defined. You know,
I wonder why they don't want to let us. It's blocked off. You can't go to it, and it's like a large part of it. You just can't even
right?
see.
Because
There has to be some significance with that.
it's
But if
definitely
we look at it
significance
and
to it.
see those black features, we probably go crazy over here. We'll
Well,
be mad.
well, the thing is, there's probably some things in there that we resonate with that they don't, and they don't want us to tap into that power that
Nah,
exists.
nah.
So
You see it?
We
It's
might get
all about
recharged, boy.
exactly. It's all about keeping us subservient.
Right.
So all the things that they know exist that we would resonate with, they do not want us to come in contact with.
Right. Mm. They spend a lot of money.
it's
It's
What
still
you
our
say?
duty.
hmm,
Our duty to find out.
It is our duty to find out. It is, and I'm working. Uh, I'm still working on the tribe, and I've already I've got my tax ID number for it. It's under trust now, and so anything that
Oh,
yeah, it's a 508c1a tribal trust, and so the official tribe of Shabazz falls under the trust, and everything else is going to fall up under that trust. So we can operate legitimately, not so much legally, because we can do what we want, you know. And that's the thing too. The power that these people have, they have it because they were able to enforce it. Okay, it's not
that's right.
legitimate. They have it because they were able to enforce it. That's it. We are the legitimate authority in this country, but we did not have the resources. We did not have the power to back our authority. So this is how they gave themselves that power. So, you know, all of what I'm doing, I'm not asking anything. You know, I will be sending notices to the different ABC organizations and everybody that I need to send notice to let them know that we exist, you know, and the tribal marshal program. What I'm attempting to do is something that's never been done before. You know, with the tribal marshal program, of course, we don't have the land that the Native Americans have, and that land is controlled by the government. So we don't want the recognition that the government has given them because the government has control. But being that we are indigenous, we get to operate freely. And so as indigenous marshals or tribal marshals, I put in our declaration that our jurisdiction is not just land, it's the people. So
That's right.
wherever our people are, we have jurisdiction. So I'm in the process now of finally getting badges made. Like I say, I've got everything pretty much in order. What I don't have is a team, you know, to help me bring all this together. But you know, I'm doing that. You know, I've got everything, and you know, it's just a matter of time. God willing, by the summer I'll be ready.
Yes, sir, brother. Trust me. Yes,
You
sir.
know,
You'll be ready.
because yeah, one of the things I really want to do right now is I really want to put together. I don't know if you remember the Jenna 6 rally that we had in Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
You know, I forget the year when those young boys that were brought up on charges, and we took buses to Jenna, Louisiana.
Right.
I'd like to do something like that going to Colorado to help that brother and sister that's got that 1,000-acre farm that those crackers keep, you know, harassing them on. And they killed, I think, one of their farm hands. And you know the sheriff is complicit otherwise. Huh?
I said, Cole, remember we were just discussing that when we
Right.
had the podcast last week.
Yeah, that's the
As far
Mallory.
as to do with your property, remember?
Right.
That added protection.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Mallories, that's their names. And I think their farm is called Freedom Farm. But you know, they're constantly being harassed. So it's like, you know, we gotta stop. I mean, here's a brother and sister who's doing what, like, okay, let's just take the nation, for instance, has taught that we should all get us some land, do for self, grow our own food, and you know, just do it. And this couple is doing it. Well, you know, they're not doing anything foolish. They're doing something that we could all benefit from. And because we can all benefit from it, we should all get behind them and support them. So when the weather clears up, I really wish they would host like a Black family reunion, and thousands of us would go up there to let these devils know that, you know, this brother and sister is not alone.
Right.
You know, it's not alone. And I really want to reach out to some of the brothers who were involved with the NFAC, you know, the Not Fucking Around Coalition, to,
Right.
you know, to be a part of this, you know. And we go up there and we just let them know, you know, hands off these people.
Right.
They're not alone. And that's the problem. You know, we get, you know, people like this, they step out on their own, and ain't nothing wrong with that, but they're doing it without any kind of security.
Right.
You know,
Bingo.
you know, So,
Yeah.
you know, the what do you call it? The mission statement for the official tribal Shabazz is an acronym. It's FEED, FEED. F for family, E for economics, E for education, and D for defense. Why defense? Because we've learned from our past. You know, whatever it
Right.
is you're building, you got to be able to defend it. Otherwise, you're going to lose it.
You're gonna lose. You waste all that time and money, and it's gone. You're right.
Yes, sir. So we got to be able to defend it. And that's the reason for the tribal marshals. But on top of that, I'm putting a separate attachment called the tribe. You know,
Okay.
that the tribe would be the equivalent of a tactical team, that special response team, that when stuff has to be handled, they do what they got to do.
But,
Yeah.
Yes.
You
yeah.
need that. We definitely need that because we've seen in the past, they're on a path of destruction. Anything that could hinder them from their progress or hinder them from what they want to do, they want to try to just destroy it or, slow up the progress and stuff like that. But every time we have our panels and we have a discussion, I'm really big on believing that we can get things done, but we have to be able to protect it because you got people that they plot to destroy anything that
Right.
takes the power out of their hands and put it into our hands.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how positive it is. It doesn't matter how beneficial it is for not just our community, but the community at large, which includes some of them. It doesn't matter. These people do not want to see us free because when we break free, they struggle.
Right.
Well, yeah,
You
and
know?
also, right, we have a right to the pursuit of happiness, but what are you willing, or how hard are you willing to fight for that right for your happiness?
Well, that's why the chapter of fear and comfort is there.
Right.
You know, that's what that chapter is about. And there's another one in here on excuses and,
Because
it's
it's not
just,
allowed to fight for your happiness or your well-being, or don't tread on me or stand your ground. Those are laws for beings, for a person that's alive on this planet, have certain inalienable rights that you're going to defend regardless. But if
right.
you don't and you let them stop you from defending you as a person, then in their minds, you're not a person. If you go sing and march, in their minds, you don't deserve the right to certain freedoms out of their mindset from coming about their cave and the way they see life. So if you don't if you don't fight for the right,
Hmm.
you're not recognized.
Yeah, well, we've seen in the past where, like when the Klan was running rampant, and then every now and then some brothers would come together and they would get their guns and they would challenge the Klan. And once they did that, the Klan left them alone,
Right. Yeah.
you know? So once they see that there is a formidable force that they have to deal with, they tend to leave it alone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they tend to leave it alone, and it's like I remember when those brothers, when that young brother was killed in Georgia, and the NFAC went to those crackers' houses and shut down that street, shut down the community. And
Mm.
when the police got there and saw those brothers in the streets with these rifles, standing like military soldiers, like what they were, they did not come in. They didn't want that smoke. Most
Yeah.
most
Yeah. Yeah.
most of these white boys, most of these white boys are cowards.
Right. But
That's
they don't need that, they're saying, well, look, we don't have to contend with y'all. We'll send your celebrities and have y'all celebrities mess you all up in your entertainers, or go in there, or or some of these So
Well, at
conversations
some
leader.
at some point we got to check all of that. At some point we got to pull their coattail. We got to pull them in and have a really, strong conversation with them.
Mm.
You sell out your
Their
people.
loyalty lies. You can see where their loyalty lies. So it's just a matter of cutting ties because they're gonna, a lot of them get that fame or they get that celebrity, they get that stuff, and it's like a drug. Once you've taken that away from them, then they have withdrawals and and they usually run back, man. So it's a matter of.
Well, you remember what Mao Zedong did with the drug users in his country, right?
What do you do?
And Mao in China, in order to rid the country of drugs, he started chopping heads off.
Ooh. Serious business.
Do it.
Serious business. And once those drug users and drug sellers saw what could potentially happen to them, the drug industry died.
Right. Went to the extreme.
Yeah.
Extremeness is necessary sometimes.
Sometimes you gotta do it.
Yes.
You gotta have those examples, to let people know it's like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta go there, unfortunately. And that's why I say, there's some tough decisions that we gotta make.
Yeah. Coming from the chief of the tribe of Shabazz, right here on Verbalpic Radio. Look,
and that's why, that's why I
why.
put that title on my name on the book, because of that reason.
Right. All right.
Gotcha.
Any questions, y'all, panel, before we get out of here? Before we go,
Where can you find the book at? Where did everybody go to get the book?
Well,
Amazon.
He's got it up on the screen right now. Yeah, Amazon has it, but I checked today to make sure before I came on, and for some reason it didn't pop up. So I'm gonna call Amazon when we get off.
Oh, I saw it. I pasted it on my Facebook page.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. Now that particular site, that is called books.buy, and that's like my private site for my book collection.
Okay.
So you can get it there, and you're supposed to be able to get it off of Amazon as well. But this is my second book. Yeah, books.buy.
Books.buy.
Okay. Then / it should be on there, / Nasiir's dash book dash collection.
Gotcha.
Okay, book dash collection. Okay.
All right. Now, this is my second. This is actually my second book. My first book, Queen, is a book I dedicated to the women. It was called The Armor Beneath the Skin. You got to get that one.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if you send me your email, I'll send you a copy of the manuscript.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait on it.
I should. Okay, tell me this again. You say it's books.buy / Nasiir.
Right, Nasiirs.
Oh, okay. NASIIRS.
Two eyes, right? You got two eyes.
Right.
You got it?
Dash book dash collection, correct?
Right.
Okay.
All right, man.
Oh. All right.
I'm saying we appreciate you, brother, for being on the show and sharing the knowledge with you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, brother, and I thank you once again for always supporting my efforts, man. Whether it's bean pies, security, martial arts, you always support me, man.
Hey, that's what we do. Hey, that's what brothers do, fam.
Exactly. This is exactly what we're supposed to do for each other.
Don't be a stranger. Come on back.
Hey, man, if y'all want, I mean, we got 12 more chapters we can discuss.
I would like to bring you on again as a part 2 to go a little bit deeper into the tribe of Shabazz.
Okay, we can do that. we can do that. And once and even discuss the other book, The Armor Beneath the Skin. That, for the sisters who've already read it, they have been touched in a way I didn't. I kind of figured some of them would be triggered, based on post-trauma. But each one said it was necessary because they thought they dealt with it. So it's a book that is about healing. It's called The Armor Beneath the Skin, subtitle, Returning the Black Woman to Herself.
Mm.
Okay, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Now that one has a workbook attached to it.
Oh yeah.
So I'll send that to you, Queen, if you send me an email.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Continue to community build right here on Verbalpic Radio. Steam panel, Roc Conscious, OG Alex, our special guest, Nasiir Abdul Muhammad, right here. We out.
Yes.
And Sister Roc, any last word?
No.
Well, we out.
Okay. Thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all's time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Peace.
Hey.